Before we dive into today's stories, here are the headlines at a glance. The Noodlophile malware gang is back with a vengeance, spear-phishing enterprises around the world with phony copyright notices and hiding their payloads on Telegram. Microsoft's CLFS vulnerability CVE 2025-29824 continues to be abused to deliver the modular PipeMagic backdoor in RansomExx attacks. Researchers found malicious PyPI and NPM packages termncolor, colorinal, redux-ace, and others that quietly drop DLLs, harvest credentials, and abuse services like Zulip and Dropbox. A huge leak of ERMAC V3.0 source code exposes how the Android banking Trojan targets hundreds of finance and crypto apps and how defenders can spot its infrastructure. Russian threat actor EncryptHub, aka Larva208, blends social engineering with the MSC EvilTwin bug to drop Fickle Stealer and other payloads. Chinese-speaking APT group UAT7237 has been camping inside Taiwanese web server environments using customized open-source tools, Cobalt Strike, and Soft Ether VPN. The U.S. Treasury renewed sanctions against crypto exchanges Garantex and its rebranded sibling Grinex, blacklisting executives and associated firms for laundering over $100 million for ransomware groups. Finally, Cisco has issued an urgent patch for a CVSS 10.0 radius flaw in Secure Firewall Management Center. Left unpatched, an attacker could execute arbitrary commands on the device. Hey folks, today is Monday, August 19th, 2025. I'm Arun from the SecMaster, your host for this daily security update podcast. Thanks for joining me today. Happy Thursday. It's great to have you with us. Let's dig in. So, the first story of the day is about Noodlophile, a stealer that's been active for over a year but is now flexing its wings globally. According to Morphosec, the attackers are sending spear-phishing emails disguised as copyright infringement notices. They tailor those emails using reconnaissance, things like your company's Facebook page ID and ownership details, and blast them to employees in the US, Europe, the Baltics, and APAC. They even send them from Gmail to look legit. The message contains a Dropbox link. Click it, and you'll download a zip or MSI installer that sideloads a malicious DLL through a legitimate hi-hi-soft PDF reader to launch the Noodlophile stealer. The staging uses Telegram group descriptions as a dead-drop resolver to fetch the real payload from paste.rs, and the stealer runs in memory to avoid disk-based detection. Noodlophile focuses on browser data and social media profiles, grabbing cookies, credentials, and system info. Its developers are adding screenshot capture, key logging, file encryption, and other functions. Potential targets include enterprises with big social media footprints. The impact is obvious: stolen login data, compromised accounts, and even ransomware down the road. Mitigation and countermeasures: train staff to spot fake copyright notices, block downloads from unknown Dropbox links, patch legitimate software that could be abused for DLL sideloading, monitor for weird registry changes or traffic to Telegram, and deploy endpoint tools that can detect in-memory loaders. Next up, Windows users beware. PipeMagic, a modular backdoor used in RansomExx attacks, is being pushed through CVE 2025-29824, a privilege escalation flaw in the Windows common log file system. The bug was patched in April 2025, but Storm 2460 and other threat actors are still abusing it to get system-level access. PipeMagic creates a random 16-byte named pipe used to transmit encrypted payloads. Components are staged on an Azure-hosted domain and loaded via a Microsoft Help Index file, metafile.mhi, that unpacks embedded C# code to decrypt shellcode. Earlier infections used a fake ChatGPT app. Newer samples use a malicious DLL masquerading as Google Update.dll. Once running, the backdoor supports modules to read and write files, inject additional payloads, and launch C# executables. Kaspersky researchers note that 2025 variants add persistence and lateral movement features, such as dumping LSAS via a renamed procdump tool. Targets range from industrial firms in Southeast Asia to organizations in Saudi Arabia and Brazil. The impact includes ransomware deployment, credential theft, and network compromise. Mitigation and countermeasures: patch Windows systems immediately, monitor for suspicious named pipes, block unknown.mhi or DLL files, disable legacy SMB CVE 2017-0144, use endpoint detection to spot injection, and restrict admin privileges so that exploitation of CLFS doesn't yield full access.
We developers love open source, but attackers love it too. Zscaler Threat Labs discovered a malicious PyPI package called termncolor. It hides its payload in a dependency named colorinal. Once installed, it sideloads a rogue DLL via a legitimate binary vcptsvr.exe and libcef.dll, then communicates with a C2 server over Zulip. Persistence comes from adding a run key in the Windows registry, and the malware even drops a shared object on Linux. The package had only a few hundred downloads before removal, but it shows how easy supply chain attacks can be. SlowMist separately warned of booby-trapped NPM packages distributed as job assessments. Victims clone a GitHub repo and end up installing packages like redux-ace or RTK logger that harvest iCloud keychains, browser data, and crypto wallets. These packages run Python scripts, take screenshots, log keystrokes, and scan for sensitive files. Another case involved a phishing attack that allowed attackers to push poison versions of the widely used ESLint config Prettier package, which has over 14,000 dependent projects. Automated tools like Dependabot merge the malicious update without human review. Targets: developers and organizations using PyPI or NPM. CI systems that auto-upgrade dependencies. Impact: remote code execution, credential theft, crypto theft, supply chain compromise. Mitigation and countermeasures: pin your package versions, vet maintainers, treat proof-of-concept code with suspicion, disable auto-merging of dependency upgrades, use SCA tools and runtime monitoring, and restrict network access from build environments to untrusted domains.
Android users, this one's wild. Researchers from Hunt.io got hold of the full ERMAC 3.0 source code from an open directory, exposing its entire malware as a service backend. ERMAC is an Android banking Trojan that evolved from Cerberus and BlackRock and can now target more than 700 banking, shopping, and crypto apps. The leak reveals all the moving parts: a PHP/Laravel backend C2 server, a React front-end panel, a Golang exfiltration server, and an Android builder panel that generates customized implants. Version 3.0 adds form injection methods, an overhauled C2 panel, and AES-CBC encrypted communications. Most interestingly, the code contains hard-coded JWT secrets, static bearer tokens, default root credentials, and open account registration. Those are gold mines for defenders. By correlating these weaknesses with live infrastructure, incident responders can detect and disrupt ERMAC operations. Targets: Android device users outside the Commonwealth of Independent States, CIS. Impact: overlay attacks, credential and account theft, unauthorized device control. Mitigation and countermeasures: install apps only from trusted stores, watch for overlays requesting credentials, enable multi-factor authentication on all financial accounts. Banks should implement anti-overlay defenses. Mobile security vendors can use leaked secrets to sinkhole C2 servers. Skeptical tone: Russian actor EncryptHub, aka Larva 208 or Water Gamuyan, isn't slowing down. Trustwave's Spider Labs observed campaigns combining social engineering and a vulnerability in the Microsoft Management Console, CVE 2025-26633, nicknamed MSC EvilTwin. The phish: a Teams message from IT asking for a remote session. Accept and you'll get 2 MSC files with the same name. Launch the innocuous one and the malicious copy runs, exploiting a CVE to execute code. That MSC file downloads a PowerShell script that collects system information, establishes persistence, and contacts EncryptHub's C2 server to drop payloads like Fickle Stealer. Commands are AES encrypted and executed on the fly. The actors also deploy a Go base loader dubbed Silent Crystal, hosted on Brave Support, yes, the browser company's support site, to deliver a zip archive containing the MSC exploits. Apparently, they compromised an account with upload rights. Other tools include a Golang Backdoor using SOC 5, fake video conference platforms like RivaTalk to push MSI installers, and the abuse of Symantec's ELAM installer binary to sideload malicious DLLs. They even generate fake browser traffic to blend C2 traffic into normal HTTP noise. Targets: corporate environments, particularly Windows users susceptible to Teams-based social engineering. Impact: full system compromise, data exfiltration, and credential theft. Mitigation and countermeasures: patch CVE 2025-26633, block MSE file execution from email or Teams, verify any remote support requests, monitor for unusual PowerShell activity, restrict file uploads on internal support platforms, implement layer defenses, and train employees to question unsolicited Teams requests.
Over to Asia, Cisco Talos has been tracking UAT 7237, a Chinese-speaking APT cluster believed to be a subgroup of UAT 5918. The group has been targeting Taiwanese web infrastructure using customized versions of open-source tools. Their goal? Establish long-term access inside high-value environments. UAT 7237 uses a bespoke shellcode loader called SoundBill to decode and launch second-stage payloads like Cobalt Strike. Unlike its parent group, UAT 7237 relies heavily on Soft Ether VPN and RDP for persistence instead of immediately dropping web shells. The attack starts by exploiting known flaws on unpatched internet-exposed servers, then fingerprinting the target. After gaining a foothold, the operators pivot internally, deploy SoundBill and Cobalt Strike, and use privilege escalation tools Juicy Potato and Mimikatz to extract credentials. They even embed a Mimikatz instance inside SoundBill now. The group scans networks with FScan, tries to disable user account control and enable clear-text password storage, and uses SoftEther's language settings to simplify Chinese, indicating their origin. A new variant of a backdoor called Firewood was also observed in parallel. Targets: Taiwanese critical infrastructure web servers and potentially other East Asian organizations. Impact: stealthy long-term compromise, credential theft, and lateral movement. Mitigation and countermeasures: patch and harden public-facing servers, monitor for SoundBill or Cobalt Strike beacons, restrict VPN and RDP use, deploy intrusion detection that flags Soft Ether anomalies, and enforce least privilege and multi-factor authentication.
For a geopolitical update, the U.S. Treasury's OFAC renewed sanctions against the Russian crypto exchange Garantex, accusing it of processing over $100 million in transactions linked to darknet markets and ransomware groups since 2019. It also sanctioned Grinex, Garantex's successor, along with co-founders Sergey Mendeleev, Alexander Mara-Serdata, and Pavel Karovsky, plus 6 affiliated companies across Russia and Kyrgyzstan. Undersecretary John K. Hurley stated that while digital assets drive innovation, the U.S. will not tolerate abuse of the industry to support cybercrime. Garantex was first sanctioned in April 2022. Its website was seized in March 2025 and co-founder Alexei Besyachatkov arrested. TRM Labs later revealed that Garantex simply rebranded to Grinex, registered in Kyrgyzstan, and continued processing more than $100 million in transactions, 82% of which were tied to sanctioned entities. After the takedown, Telegram channels began promoting Grinex's nearly identical interface. Treasury said Garantex helped launder money for ransomware crews like Conti, Black Basta, Lockbit, NetWalker, and Phoenix Crypto Locker. The exchange also helped customers regain access to accounts via a ruble-backed stablecoin called A7A5, issued by Old Vector. That token moves over $1 billion a day. The DOJ seized $2.8 million in crypto and $70,000 in cash linked to related ransomware operations, and is offering rewards for information leading to arrests. Targets: cybercriminals using these exchanges, regulators, financial institutions. Impact: the sanctions freeze assets and restrict U.S. persons from doing business with the named entities. It may push criminals to use other services. Mitigation and recommendations: cryptocurrency users and exchanges should perform due diligence on counterparties. Regulators should monitor rebranding attempts. Law enforcement will continue targeting mixers and high-risk exchanges.
Finally, some patching news. Cisco released a fix for CVE 2025-2020-65, a CVSS 10.0 vulnerability in its Secure Firewall Management Center, FMC. The bug is in the Radius subsystem. During authentication, it fails to sanitize user input, allowing an unauthenticated remote attacker to inject arbitrary shell commands. A successful exploit could allow high-privilege code execution on the device. The flaw affects FMC software versions 7.0.7 and 7.7.0 when Radius authentication is enabled, whether for the web UI or SSH. Cisco credited Brandon Sakai for discovering the bug. There are no workarounds. Users must apply the patch. In the same advisory, Cisco patched several high-severity DOS and RCE bugs across Snort 3, ASA FTD, iOS XE, and other products. None are known to be under active exploitation yet, but network appliances are prime targets for nation-state and criminal actors. Targets organizations using Cisco Secure FMC, network security teams. Impact: remote attackers could gain full control of firewall management appliances, pivot deeper into networks, or cause denial of service. Mitigation and countermeasures: apply Cisco's patches immediately, disable Radius if unnecessary, restrict management interfaces to trusted networks, and monitor for attempted exploitation.
Hey folks, today is Thursday, August 14th, 2025. I'm Arun from the SecMaster, your host for this daily security update podcast. Thanks for joining me today. Happy Thursday. It's great to have you with us. Let's dig in.